Welcome to Ageosphere. Randall Cox here. Hey, today we're going to talk about free weights versus machines as that relates to our training. If this is your first time here, start by subscribing now. Let's get those notifications turned on so you don't miss anything. Now we look at free weight training versus machine training. Which is better? And the answer is, well, it depends, but probably both. The key is what finds out, what works best for you. I incorporate, a good amount of both free weights, and machines in my workouts to give me, a good variety and train the muscles, as effectively as I can. Now, there are benefits and negatives to both, and hopefully using them together, hopefully you come up with a workout that gives you the best benefit for your body. Now with a machine, you are locked into kind of a specific range of motion, but this can add stability, and balance to some movements, and potentially lower that risk for injury. Now it depends on the exercise, right? So you look at which movement, gives you the best muscle contraction. Now some machines, they don't allow for a full, muscle contraction where, with free weights, some movements, they can put too much tension on a joint and they can increase that risk for injury. Now, as with any exercise, good form is the key, regardless if it's a free weight or a machine. And trust me, I see people use horrible form on both. Now, there are two types of machines. You have plate loaded and pin loaded. Now with a plate loaded machine, you're basically, to add that weight and resistance, you're stacking, plates on the machine. Now in itself, it's, not much different from using free weights in that, you're loading and unloading weights from the bar. Where when you have a pin loaded machine, you've got a stack of weights that's already attached, to that machine. And you change that weight resistance simply by moving a pin up or down. So yes, it is much easier. Now this is better obviously if you don't want to hassle with, loading and unloading plates, as well as, maybe you want to do a progressive overload or a drop set workout where, you want to change that weight resistance, quicker. Now free weights, they may activate, more muscles than machines and therefore could be, better for building muscle. But I'm going to tell you, there's not really any science behind the fact that you can't equally build muscle with a machine. Now machines are considered a little bit safer, in that you're going to be hard pressed to get, pinned underneath a machine like maybe on a bench press or a squat rack, right? Unless that machine fell over on top of you. And trust me, that would be pretty difficult to do. Now machines can help you train weaker muscles, right? To help you define your form better. And for someone just starting out, machines are beneficial and you don't have to worry so much about, if you have the right amount of weight, especially if you're on a pin-loaded machine. If you pick a weight that, it's too heavy or too light, you just, adjust that pin. It takes, 2 seconds. Now, if you pull a set of dumbbells, right, after one rep, you realize it's too heavy, well, now you got to take that set of dumbbells, you got to re-rack them, and then you got to go over and grab another set. Now, personally, I probably do use, more free weights as the bulk of my workout. I find them better for functional training, where machines, they could be a little bit better in isolating a muscle. Now, functional strength training, okay, it makes us stronger, right? It improves our flexibility. And I find this to be, one of the biggest factors in distinguishing free weights from using the machines. Now, while you're working that same, major muscle group, with both methods, with a free weight, you're going to incorporate, an array of, associated, supporting muscles. You've got your tendons, you've got your ligaments, and those may not be needed as much when you're training on a machine. Free weights tend to, they're going to incorporate, more of your core muscles. They're going to, engage those stabilizer muscles. This is going to improve, overall balance, your muscle control. It's going to let your muscles be stronger at a variety of different angles. Now, when you lift with free weights, I mean, there's no limitation or restriction on how or where, you can move that weight. Now, if you're tall or short, you just move, into your body's natural range, where with a machine, you could be locked into a more, specific, range of motion. So for me at 6'5", I typically need to go full range on my adjustments to fit my body. Hasn't been a big issue, but I have come across a few machines that, they just didn't, quite fit my body so well, maybe because of my height, but I still, I was able to make it work. Now, when using a machine, focus on form, right? Keeping your movements controlled throughout that lift. And the best way to ensure that you do that is you need to pick the correct amount of weight. Now, most of the mistakes that I see people make on machines is that, they're using too heavy of a weight, rather than just lifting at a correct weight to do the exercise properly. Now, finding the right weight, it could take a little bit of trial and error, but, you're aiming for a weight that, that allows you to complete the set, to failure, or before failure, right? And it's always best to start light because you can easily move up from there. Now, once you have the right weight, make sure you control that movement, okay? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. I mean, you let that weight stack crash down, okay? You're not controlling the movement. Now, one good advantage to a machine is maintaining a constant time under tension. Now, of course, you can get the same result, from a free weight, but hey, at the bottom of a movement on a machine, it's over, where, if you take that dumbbell set to failure, now you still got to get up and go re-rack the dumbbell. Not a big issue, but, a little bit more work involved. Now, one downside of free weights is it can take a little bit of time learning how to correctly perform an exercise. You want to start by, you practice your technique with a lighter weight. You can build up to lifting heavier weights, right, in your efforts to make, your strength and muscle gains. Now, machines are kind of like a prepackaged meal of the exercise world, and that, they're ready to go right out of the packet. Now, a big winner for machines is their ability to, focus on a single muscle. Now, when we use free weights, it can be a little bit difficult to, to maybe isolate that one muscle, especially if we're using too much weight. Now, anytime that we perform an exercise, while standing as an example, we are naturally using many muscles in our core, in our lower body, to balance ourselves throughout that movement. Now, on the other hand, if you're securely, seated in a bicep curl machine, for example, you are able to completely isolate the bicep. Now, this is why some people, they will often use machines, to work on building full muscles, right, by performing, specific movements so that they can tone their physiques as desired. Another advantage of machines is if, we take a free bar squat, for example, is building up our strength in our quadriceps. Now, this can take some time, and, a person might not be, comfortable, loading up that weight bar. Those times, and it's worthwhile, maybe you want to stack some plates on a leg press machine so that, you can still build strength while you're lowering that potential for injury. Now, if you take a free bar squat, to failure, that can get a little bit risky, okay? Because, if you get stuck at the bottom, right, you're in a world of hurt. Okay, where if you're on a leg press machine, all you got to do is just pull in those safety pins. As with any level of training, it's all about getting the most from your workout. It's important that you check your ego at the door and focus on developing the muscle to its fullest potential. And it isn't necessarily about, building that muscle to a larger size so much as, you want to develop that muscle so that we look good. So if you can shelf the idea of trying to impress people in the gym with ego lifting, okay, and focus on impressing people in public by having, developed muscles and, maintaining a low body fat, I think you're going to be much better off. Now, a lot of this is about, when you step foot in the gym, you're ready to go to work, right? Exercise is very mental, and if you're not in the right frame of mind, you are not going to have a good workout. Now, when you approach each set, you need to, you have to focus on the task at hand. And that goes for whether it's a free weight or a machine. And I see a lot of people, they put all their effort into the free weights and they kind of look at machines as an easier exercise. The fact is, your intensity needs to be the same on every exercise you do. For me, I do tend to get, pretty hyped up when I do a free bar squat. But that intensity stays the same when I do a tricep pushdown on a cable machine. Now, I like to have a fairly specific plan when I walk in the gym and how I'm going to train. and that's going to be a mixture of those free weights and machines. Now, I basically train until my body's had enough. Towards the end, I might really need to push, but hey, when I'm done, I'm done. So, at age 60, when I get into those hour-plus workouts, it can get a little bit taxing, but, I've created what I feel is the best workout for my body. So, some days I'm going to hit those free weights, right out of the gate, full force, where others, I might start with a machine. Regardless of how I start that rep, okay, every set is as safe as it can be, and I want to try and push that muscle to the max. Now, you have to have a vision, on where you want to go and kind of, what is your end goal? Do you want to be healthier? Maybe more flexibility, more muscle tone. That's great. If you want, bigger muscles, you want to run faster, you want to lift heavier weights, well, that's a little bit different vision and probably, a different work ethic. And trust me, if you're going to go into the gym and do a half-assed, 45-minute workout 3 days a week and continue to make, bad eating choices, I can tell you, you're not going anywhere, okay? It's all about the effort in your exercise and the effort in your eating. Hey, please leave your comments as I work with people on their quest for better health. If you're looking for more programs to help you out with that weight loss, that nutrition, or those exercise goals, please follow me on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you.